everybody, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, the background's a little different today, and that's because I needed to sit down and film an audition, and I'm trying to like move things along pretty quickly. So I was like, you know what, instead of moving everything over to my usual spot to film a video, we're just gonna enjoy something different today. Today I want to show you my book haul. So I wanted to do something different for this book haul. I saw this trend that was going viral for a while now, getting strangers to pick the things I'm going to buy, or the most recent one, letting the strangers ahead of me pick the food I was going to eat. And so I wanted to do something similar to that. I needed to go into Boston, so I was like, you know what, let's go to a bookstore in Boston to really take care of this. At first I went to the Barnes & Noble by Emerson, but this was right before school was starting, and it was a ghost town. I actually didn't realize that one of those Barnes & Nobles that was really the kind that had maybe 2 shelves worth of stuff, and the rest of it was school merch. So even if there was people in the store, I would have had to buy a lot of Emerson school merch. So we, call that a loss, and I eventually went to Brookline Booksmith, where I've gone to several bookish events for, like author events. In fact, I actually went to an author event with Aspiring Ashley when we went to see V. Schwab and Susan Dennard. So I went to Brookline, and I realized as soon as I got there that this was going to be much harder than I thought, because I couldn't necessarily just wait in line and follow this person all the way up to the register and like see what they bought. And so I decided to, at first at least, follow people around, and if they picked up a book, that was the book I was going to get. And again, this seemed to be much harder than I thought it was going to be. So I had to bring out the big guns and start talking to people. I haven't read the majority of these. Have you read any of these?
I'm kind of all over with what I read.
Oh, so am I. Yeah. Which is why I was like, I'm open to anything, but I can't say no to a good sale.
This is a weird one.
This is a weird one? Oh, I like weird.
It's light and silly.
I like light and silly.
Yeah,
that was a really good
fluff.
Oh.
Like it's not stupid. But
right.
It's an interesting one. Nothing too heavy.
I eventually started going up to people and asked what they recommended. One guy even straight up goes, "I don't work here." I know, I just want a stranger's opinion on what I should get, because that's how you grow as a person, and I'm being really awkward, so thank you for your time, bye. Excuse me, sorry to bother you, but I'm trying to find a new comic.
I don't work here.
I know, oh, okay. I like random people's recommendations. Oh, okay. I see that you're looking over and I'm like, oh, maybe he reads comics too.
I do, but I'm not up on the new stuff.
Thankfully, that guy eventually took me aside, and alright, this is what I would recommend. But he chose something that was so expensive that I was like, you know what? This is just a fun video idea. I'm not about to blow a lot of money for this book or for this video, so off it went. One is a little bit out of my budget, so we're going to put it back. This is a fun video idea, but I'm not about to break the bank for it. And then somebody else I eventually spoke to, this guy was very sweet, and he gave me a bunch of recommendations. We kept talking for a little while too, but he gave me quite a few recommendations, and of course, me being a cheapskate, I bought the cheapest book that he recommended. So it was a fun little outing buying books. I don't usually get to do that. I try to only buy books that I've read before and I know I'm going to love. So it has been several years since I have been book shopping, but this was fun. This was just a nice little, alright, we're gonna give stuff a chance today. But after talking to several people that I'm probably most likely never going to see again, I went to the register, paid for my stuff, and then left. I actually had a bunch of other stoof. Wow, I say that, jokingly with my husband, and it's somehow crept its way into my regular vernacular. I had a bunch of other stuff to do later that night, and so it needed to be a quick trip to the bookstore, and it ended up being a little bit longer than I meant to, but we got some really cool stuff at the bookstore. I was really grateful actually at Brookline. They were having this massive sale, so I definitely hung around people at the little what is it, the little islands that have the books on sale. And so if someone picked something up, I grabbed it too. One of them is this, What is What by Dave Eggers. I've never heard of this before. Bought it for $7 and it was originally for $17. So this was a great deal I was able to get. But let's see what this person picked for me. From the best-selling author of a heartbreaking work of staggering genius, What is the epic novel based on the life of Valentino, a Czech Dang who, along with thousands of other children, the so-called Lost Boys, was forced to leave his village in Sudan at the age of 7 and trek hundreds of miles by foot. Pursued by militias, government bombers, and wild animals, crossing the deserts of 3 countries to find freedom. When he is finally resettled in the United States, he finds a life full of promise, but also heartache and myriad of new challenges. So this is a fiction book based on a lot of other people's real-life experiences, and this was published in 2006, so this has been out for a while. But this looks really interesting. I'm actually kind of excited for this. So for that stranger, thank you for this pick. Oh, and these next 2 books was picked by the same stranger. I got to talking to her and she's like, well, I have different tastes than you do. I'm like, yeah, well, that's the part of growing and becoming a better person. So she actually recommended these 2 books. One is Your Second Life Begins When You Realize You Only Have One by Rafael Giordano. At 38 and a quarter years old, Paris native Camille has everything she needs to be happy, or so it seems. A good job, a loving husband, a wonderful son. Why then does she feel as if happiness has slipped through her fingers? All she wants is to find the path to joy. When Claude, a routinologist, offers his unique advice to help her get her there, she seizes the opportunity with both hands. Camille's journey is full of surprising escapades, creative capers, creative capers, and deep meaning as she sets out to transform her life one step at a time. In English for the first time, this is a charming feel-good story. Oh wow, this is a translated story. Very cool. Originally written in French in 2015 and this was translated in 2018. Very cool. She said this was actually pretty funny and worth the read. And with this one, this is called The Family Fang by Kevin Wilson. She also said this was rather funny and about a quirky family. And she said if that's something that you like, then you should check this out. Annie and Buster Fang have spent most of their adult lives trying to distance themselves from their famous artist parents, Caleb and Camille. But when a bad economy and a few bad personal decisions converge, the 2 siblings have nowhere to turn but their family home. Reunited under one roof for the first time in more than a decade, surrounded by the souvenirs of their unusual upbringing, Buster and Annie are forced to confront not only their ambitious parents, but the chaos and confusion of their childhood. So this was written with a lot of tremendous heart, wit, and honesty, at least according to one of the little quotes that they put in the back saying why you should read it. This sounds like it's going to be one of those cute, feel-good books that, things can get better for you. And this is something that, likes life. It sucks, but enjoy the ride while you're at it. So far, I've gotten really lucky. All 3 of these sound pretty cool. I didn't look at these until this moment, which is why I'm reading the back of all of them, because I've never heard of any of these before. And as you can see, luckily they've all been on sale. This next one is actually the book I was telling you that this kid gave me a recommendation, and this was the cheapest one. In fact, this was the only one on sale that he mentioned. He recommended Persepolis, which I've read before, and I actually almost bought that instead. I'm like, well, I know I'm going to enjoy that. But this one was on sale in comparison to that one. And it's a graphic novel, which I'm excited for. So it looks like there's about these characters in the back here. It would be helpful actually to tell you what the title was. Sing No Evil by J.P. Ohonen and K.P. Allaire. It looks like it's about a band. Axel, a perfectionist frontman with a stutter. Lily, a keyboardist looking for a break. Bear, the drummer. Kervenin, bassist who's been around the block a few hundred times, and Aiden, a pizza delivery guy with a voice that will give you visions. Oh, I think this is one of those fantasy, like urban fantasy comic books. Yeah, so it's about our main guy, Axel, who's struggling to keep his band together. And at the end, he eventually invites Aiden, the pizza delivery guy, to join the band. But not only are they struggling to, strut their stuff for a chance to do the Rocktoberfest, some supernatural forces, cause some issues for them. So I feel like I'm definitely going to enjoy this one. And I feel like I kept moving this around like this. That's the cover. That's what it looks like. Oh no, this book got really damaged on the way here. That makes me sad. So this is the last book I got. Towards the end of shopping at Brookline, after talking to that guy, I was like, all right, I'm almost at my budget for the day. I had said I was going to end my shopping video as soon as I picked 5 books or I hit $50. And I was like, you know what? I haven't hit $50 yet, so let's try to find one more book. And so of course I am like nonchalantly like following people around the bookstore, and I saw this girl go up to the graphic novel section, grab this, and then left. She was on a mission. She didn't even stay very long. I'm like, all right, she came here specifically for that. I'm going to get that too. And that is The Runaways, Pride and Joy. It doesn't say who it's by. Oh, it's by Brian K. Vaughan, and penciled in by Adrienne Alfona, and colored in by David Newbold, Craig Young, and a bunch of other people. So it's a Brian K. novel comic book. I've actually never heard of this. I like Brian K. Vaughan. It's Marvel, and I think this is actually the first Marvel comic book I ever bought. I don't know anything about this. I'm flipping through, and I'm not enthralled by the art style, if I'm being completely honest. But it's definitely like a superhero thing. They were the pride of their families, now they're just runaways. 6 normal teenagers, linked only by their wealthy parents' annual business meeting, discover a shocking truth. Their parents are the secret criminal society known as the Pride. For years, the Pride has controlled all criminal activity in LA, ruling the city with an iron fist. They'll take any measures necessary to protect their organization and pass on their legacy, but the kids aren't interested. Together, they run away from home and straight into the adventure of their lives, vowing to turn the tables on their evil legacy. Well, that's kind of cool. So a bunch of kids realize that their parents are evil people, and they look to undo their parents' mischief. I like the fact that it's based in LA. As someone who wants to move out there, it'd be kind of cool to just read stuff about LA. But like I said, I'm not wowed by the art style in this. Like, even the cover isn't that exciting to me. I actually probably wouldn't have picked this up if it wasn't for that girl just going in, grabbing it, and then straight up leaving the store after paying for it. And that's it. That is everything that I let strangers pick out for me at the bookstore. It was definitely an adventure. I don't usually do that. I'm one of those people who hate to give recommendations to people, especially if they're strangers, because I'm like, I have no idea what tickles you or speaks to you, and it's very possible that you like, I don't know, 18th century history nonfiction, and I read fantasy novels for 16-year-olds, so I don't know how much help I'm going to be to you. I especially hate it when patrons at my library ask for recommendations, because I feel like, well, now I have to give you a recommendation because you're viewing me as an expert, and I just want to be on my way. And so I felt bad being that person towards some of these people, but, we did it for content. We did it for the YouTubes. I have to say, a lot of these... Oh, goodbye. I dropped one of them. I dropped the Quirky Family book. A lot of these have a lot of promise. I didn't mean to word it like that, but you know what I meant. A lot of these, I feel like I could really enjoy. I don't know if I'm really going to enjoy this one. This looks like to be a 3-star read for me. This looks like it might be a 3 to 4-star read for me. This one I don't know. This can either go really well or really poorly, so I have to read it to see how things are going to go for this. But I think the 2 that show the most promise are these 2. And of course they're completely different. One's literary fiction and one is, a graphic novel. This was really different. I enjoyed making this video, and I'm also hoping to do some sort of reading vlog with these books so you can actually see how all of this turns out. Because with those like eating videos, you see them eat it. I'm like, all right, you get instant gratification of how well it turned out. As of now, we're just gonna leave it here. Let me know down in the comments below how you feel about this sort of video and if it's worth me pursuing like other types of videos like this. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I guess it's ta-ta for now. Bye guys.